Welcome to this Able Lounge recording at Downtown Camper, provided for you to learn more, to be inspired, and to stay reflective. Able Lounge empowers individuals to achieve physical, mental, and emotional well-being. This recording is from our Able World of Body Awareness. You will listen to me, Jose Poleon Henry, the founder of Body Marriage, which is the art of sustainable health and fitness. Being healthy and fit is everyone's dream. Why? Because it greatly contributes to our quality of life. During these years of working with my clients and with my own body, I have realized that it does not matter with whom I've worked, whether you're fitness nuts, experienced or not so experienced, old, middle-aged or young, suffering from scoliosis or knee injuries or stress. It doesn't matter who the person is. There's one thing that we all have in common. We all need to be connected to our body. This is what led to the concept body marriage. Body marriage fundamentally highlights that you should embrace your body in a personal way, in a way that only you can be connected. We believe that you should be aware of your muscles and how they move, which ones are connected to what movements, where each muscle comes in, and when it should or should not be involved. We also believe that you should eat according to your personal body type and according to the sacrifice or priority that you are willing to make in various phases of your life. We also believe that the body is capable of expressing itself anywhere, anyhow, and anytime when you are truly connected to it. Are you connected to your body in this way? Are you aware of the points I just mentioned? Now, you should note that even after I have mentioned these very important points, you should also note that your primary goal here should not only be centered on being healthy and fit, but to also maintain this feeling and fact of being healthy and fit throughout your entire lifespan. This is what it means to be sustainable. And this is the very core of what body marriage is all about: sustainability. How do we become sustainable? Here is where I will introduce a point to you, and this is the art of meeting yourself where you are. Only by meeting yourself where you are can you start a journey that is truly connected to you. You may say, am I not always where I am? I mean, where else can I be? But don't worry, I will explain this very soon. Before I elaborate on this point, I will create some categories for you in my audience, because you need to understand where you are in this picture of being healthy and fit. Okay, so there are generally 3 categories into which we fall as we approach our own health and fitness. The first category: you are pretty experienced when it comes to health and fitness, but still your levels of satisfaction are sporadic. This means that you are not at all consistent, and you go through periods when you are active, and then you have periods when it's quite the opposite, nothing at all. This bothers you because you feel the difference in your body, and it does not feel good at all. You may even get aches and pains that signal the neglect. When it gets past a certain level, you may really go for it with a tough session just to hang in there. And you feel good for a little while, and then you are back down. Right back down to square one. This way, there is no balance. And as I said before, you go up and down all the time. You may also fall into the very common category of people who make New Year's resolutions and for the first couple of weeks work out like crazy and then crash because you overdo it. And because it's just too intense to pack it in all like that. What is it that makes you, who are pretty experienced, go up and down like this? When you actually know better and want to do better and really try to do better. What is it? Now think about this. Are you aware that life does not stay static? Are you aware that life constantly has new phases? Each of these new phases represents new challenges, and these challenges are a part of a shifting reality that you have to honor. So let's say you were single and worked out 5 or 6 days a week and were really muscled or balanced and had a really, really strong approach. You were really strong in your body and had lots of time to really spend on working out and eating well. You could do 50 or 20 pull-ups and 25 push-ups without pausing. And you were proud of it. All right? So you had a regular, satisfying rhythm going on. 5 years later, you have 10 kids and 3 wives or husbands and a very demanding job. Is it then still possible to stay healthy and fit? The answer is yes. But you have to adjust your expectations and find a new base level. You heard that? Find a new base level that gives your body what it needs during this new period. Now you may ask, what is this base level? Let me explain. Your base level is the point at which the focus is not on ultimately how strong you can be in terms of how many reps you can do or simply being number one. The focus is rather on having all of the muscles working together in a conscious union and making sure that they are nourished to the point where your everyday movements are facilitated with ease. That is your base level. But there is one thing that you have to note. When you were once muscular and fit, or even very muscular and fit, those muscles were way above your base level and were simply a bonus. It is not practical to assume that being always above a certain high level is how you become sustainable. When you do this, you create a picture with a demand that always creates a problem because you cannot accept your new phase of life when you are still holding on to how things used to be and how you think they should be. And therefore, you cling to your ego and forget the reality of your needs and how things have changed in this new phase of life that you're in. Remember, you are never stronger than the phase of life that you are in. You can only adjust your expectations and maintain a solid base in your body where all the muscles are nourished and you eat according to the energy that you can burn in this new phase. The circumstances in your new phase are always what determine how strong or how relatively strong you can be. Therefore, your base, having a solid base, is always the most important thing. Remember that. This is what is called meeting yourself where you are. Okay, so I hope that you have been able to understand this a little bit more. All right. Now, I will go to the second category. This is where you are inexperienced when it comes to health and fitness, etc. And then also you are sporadic. That means you are on and off. The characteristics are basically the same as category 1 that I just described, all right? The difference is just that you are inexperienced when it comes to all of this. And this makes it even more frustrating when you feel that you don't really know what you're doing. And you just kind of want to give up. But take it easy. If you are inexperienced, accept that lovingly. And get help from someone who is experienced or someone who is a professional. Allow yourself to take the time to grow and focus on that first. And then you can establish a regular sequence where you can just focus on getting better and understanding what you're doing first. Don't focus on the end game yet. In addition to this challenge of learning to understand what you are doing and being patient, you may even be in the same situation of having a demanding job and other external responsibilities. So it is very important that you take all of this into account and see yourself where you are and begin right there. Because trying to be or begin somewhere else only leads to stress, and that leads to frustration, and this will not at all contribute to your sustainability in terms of fitness and health. Again, this is what I call meeting yourself where you are. This is how I work with my clients. Now I'm going to move to the third category. This is where you're inexperienced and never worked out before. So not only are you inexperienced, but you have never really dared to place yourself in a situation where you really try to understand what this health and fitness is all about. You have many fears because you feel that you don't belong, and to even attempt to start just seems like a huge amount of effort. You have past experiences that you carry with you that contain a lot of fear and self-doubt. And it comes out when you venture into the unknown, especially into your body. There is also another part to this category, and it is that you may be inexperienced but not afraid. So you perhaps have entered into it only once, and you were not doing things very right, and you went in too deep, too quickly, and that memory has closed you off from ever trying again. Very many people fall into this category, and in this category, you will realize that it is not just about a new phase of life. This is not the very first big thing to tackle. The true challenge that stands in your way is actually starting. And because of this, the most important thing here is that you look at yourself with lots of love when you are at the point of being a total beginner. And then you say, yeah, all that love crap, dude, this is just health and fitness. It's not that deep. But really, seriously, it's all about love. Many clients whom I have helped to embrace their health and fitness on a consistent level have started from nothing, literally nothing. They had no idea of how to even walk well or to do any kind of conscious exercise. The first thing I had to do was to work on the mind. So how is your mind? Are you perhaps thinking that great levels of health and fitness are for the young, explosive, and experienced fitness gods and the veterans? Do you look at athletes and think, oh, I can never be like that, so I might as well not even start. I might as well not even try. The truth is that you are perhaps placing demands on yourself without even asking yourself who you are and what you need. Let me repeat that. The truth is that you are perhaps placing demands on yourself without even asking yourself who you are and what you need. You are perhaps ignoring all of the challenges you also currently face in terms of your fears and the history that you carry with you. And this requires acceptance and gradually allowing yourself to face them. Remember that. Think about that. All right? You will, of course, eventually have to look at the phase of life you are in. But even before you get to this point, you will have to have an open, loving approach to beginning your journey, because that is what sets the stage for continuation. And that is what makes something sustainable. All right, I know you can recognize yourself in one of these, didn't you? All right, please note that you may also not just belong to category 1 or 2 or 3, but you may also have a mixture of things from 2 or 3 of the categories. All right? Now, after looking at all these categories, let's summarize some really important points as food for thought and personal reflection. 1, it is not how strong you are in terms of muscles and how many repetitions of an exercise that you can do that makes you healthy and fit. 2, having and maintaining your base in each new or shifting phase of life is what is important and is what is regarded as true strength. Remember that your base is the point at which the focus is not on ultimately how strong you can be in terms of how many reps you can do or being number 1. The focus is rather on having all of the muscles working together in a conscious union and making sure that they are all nourished to the point where your everyday movements are smooth and easy. Remember what I said earlier. Sometimes we get to the point where we're way over our base level and your muscles are way stronger than that which is totally necessary. And that is just a bonus, which is okay if you have the time to really focus on that. But even this bonus state is not at all sustainable. So remember this before you put pressure on yourself to be on top. When truly being on top is actually relative to the phase of life that you are in and what it demands from you. In this way, a lot of what actually influences and determines our sustainability takes place outside of the gym and outside of actual physical exercise. It is rather your ability to meet yourself where you are that determines everything. The real truth is that we go through depression, illness, sometimes we're high or low, have a really demanding job or kids, or relationships that demand time and energy. How you meet yourself in this, as life shifts and change, means everything. Third point, you don't need to be like a super athlete in order to think of yourself as being healthy and fit. Unfortunately, a huge part of the health and fitness industry is based on performance consumption, and that is damaging for many people's ability to look at themselves through their own personal needs. Remember that even the life of a super athlete is not sustainable. If you're a housewife and all you do is stay home and clean and cook and take care of the kids in that structure, your own needs are going to look very different from other people who have other circumstances surrounding their lives, right? Good. Number 4, you are never stronger than the phase of life in which you are. It's your ability to adapt to the phases of life in which you are that makes you sustainable. Therefore, adjusting your base to suit a new phase of life, especially if that base means that you may go down in muscle mass or pure performance level, does not make you a wimp. It actually makes you smart and makes you one of the very few who actually stay healthy and fit, fabulous and loving yourself no matter what phase of life you are in. You are only truly strong relative to the phase of life in which you find yourself. So let me emphasize this. Your ability to adjust yourself and maintain your base and not just cling to a certain picture of how it should be is what makes you truly strong and sustainable in your health and fitness. So, as you can see, a great part of the body marriage sustainability approach involves working with people, building their muscles and bodies in such a way that has similarities to normal everyday fitness. But there is another work in progress at the same time, and this makes them very aware of what is happening in their bodies, and thus enables them to listen while the body speaks and as the muscles communicate. You see, for example, we are so good at shutting down weak or challenging points because we just want to get to the fabulous goal of doing those squats, all of them, and getting to the point where we can say, done, did them all. So when the muscles that are weak begin to speak to us, we kind of shut them down because we don't want to feel weak and imperfect. We want to feel that we are always strong for the mission because that is what fitness is about, always being strong, right? But where does true strength lie? Where does this true strength lie? Is it in avoiding our weakness and keeping it there? Or being courageous enough to face it and then nourish ourselves to being strong? Imagine working out and building muscles and then being totally capable of dealing with everything else that presents itself along the way. Our bodies are not just muscles. Our body is also the total history it carries. Remember that. We bear so many things that cannot be changed, but can only be loved and nourished. And in order to do that, you have to meet yourself where you are, in your fears, in your weakness, in everything that needs to be improved. That is how you can be sustainable, because then your personal growth will always have a loving, achievable path. Now, in summary, let me paint this picture. Health and fitness is the company or corporation of life. You hear that? Health and fitness is the company or corporation of life. The phase of life that you're in is what forms the economic climate that creates shifts and changes in consumer demands and spending power. Your base level is how you still keep the original essence of what made your product so good in the first place, even if you have to update it as the economic climate changes. Being able to meet yourself where you are is the greatest CEO who manages and guides the company in all of the above points and gives the ultimate proof of profitability that your corporation or company is sustainable. So guess what? It is now time to put your ego aside and walk with your diaper in your backpack and meet yourself where you are. If you need to put on your diapers and be humble and patient with yourself as you grow and embrace new perspectives, then do that. When people ask me how I maintain my health and fitness like this, the way I do, I tell them it's all about the diapers. It's really all about the diapers, seriously. Now it's time for me to go. Thanks for listening. There is so much to talk about, which I will perhaps do in other podcasts. But I hope that in these few minutes, I have given you something to think about and that your thoughts will translate into real inspiration that is sustainable for you. You have listened to our able body awareness expert, Jose Poleon Henry. To find out more about him and Able Lounge at Downtown Camper, please check out our daily activities, workshops and events displayed on the wall at the entrance of the hotel.